Honda has totally updated this large three-row crossover to include much more room and a better interior, but also some frustrating technology. This all-new Honda Pilot is based on the same platform as the luxury Acura MDX, and just like the MDX, it's larger but lighter. Even though this Pilot is 9 centimeters longer than the 2015 model, it's 135 kilograms lighter. That adds a lot more room in the cargo area, even when the rear seats are up and the rear doors are longer for better access into the last two rows, and hopefully improved fuel economy. So it's obvious to me that Honda has packaged this vehicle to get you to spend more of your money. But on all Pilots, here's some good news. There's soft touch materials on the dash, which is a vast improvement over the previous model. And you also notice this beautiful bright screen in the center of the console. Now, other Honda and Acura products have two screens, which I kind of find confusing. This is beautiful, bright, and easier to use, but there is no volume knob next to the screen. You have to touch the screen in order to change the volume, which sounds kind of petty, but in reality, it's frustrating. Buyers will have to shell out for the EX trim, that's one up from the base, to get the LED marker lights. And to get LED projector headlamps, they're kept for this $50,000 Touring trim. If you want a power tailgate, it'll cost almost $45,000 to get the EXL trim. There is a handy one-touch sliding rear seat for easy access to the third row, but this too is only offered on that $45,000 EXL trim. This trim also includes satellite radio, front and rear park assist, and heated rear seats. Well, you have to hand it to Honda for coming up with a much better looking design. The previous model really was like a brick on wheels. It has a much more cohesive design with the rest of the Honda family. It kind of looks like a bigger CR-V. Now, before we get going, I want to talk about what gets you going, and that's the transmission. It's got a push-button electronic transmission controller here in the center console, which begs the question, if you're going to switch to a push-button, why don't you move it somewhere else to open up all this space? It takes the exact same amount of space as a regular shifter. And the parking brake on this Pilot is a good old-fashioned push one here with your foot. Why don't they make an electronic parking brake? If you're going to add all of this electronic wizardry, add that too. All right. Let's get into gear. How do we do this? Push. Here we go. Now I'm here to tell you to save your money and don't buy this 9-speed automatic transmission. When you take off in first gear, it kind of feels like that parking brake is still on. It's very sluggish. Now the engine is a 280 horsepower, 3.5-liter V6, which has cylinder management, meaning that when you're under light throttle loads, like right now, some of the cylinders switch off, which gives you greater economy. The good news is, once at speed, the transmission settles into higher gears and is smooth, and the ride is refined. And it actually handles quite well for a big three-row crossover. The combination of shedding 135 kilograms plus cylinder management improves the fuel economy to 9.3 liters per 100 kilometers in the city if you get the 9-speed or the 6-speed automatic transmission. But in the city, the 9-speed gets 12.4 liters per 100 kilometers and the 6-speed 13 liters per 100 kilometers. There's not a big improvement in fuel economy between the two transmissions, which begs the question, why would you go for the 9-speed? Now, when you shed weight, you're obviously going to make a vehicle more drivable. It's a bigger platform, so it feels stable on the road. And Honda always does a good job of making their vehicles handle a little bit better than most. Now, the other thing about the 9-speed, I've been kind of harping on it, but you can get around the way it feels by putting it into sport mode. So it makes it more responsive. The downside is, when you're driving in sport mode, you're getting the revs up, and that will definitely impact your fuel economy. To recap this Honda Pilot, there's things to like about it. I certainly like the new exterior styling. On the inside, it's bigger, which offers much more cargo space, easy to get in and out of the back, and there's plenty of space for everybody on the inside. The materials on the dash are first rate, and I like the look of that single screen. Unfortunately, there's no volume knob for that screen, and the 9-speed automatic is gimmicky and doesn't drive that well. And here's the big one. If you want all the nice features, the price on this Pilot can go up in a hurry.
Looking for a family car? We have all the makes and models on our website. at drivingtelevision.com.